If you've ever run a business or even just thought about it, you know there's one question that's always there. It's the most basic question of all. Seriously, how do you really know? Not just a gut feeling, not just looking at the cash in the drawer. I'm talking about the cold, hard numbers. Are you profitable from the simple act of buying something and selling it? Well, today we're going to find the first and most important piece of that answer. The tool we use to do this is called the trading account. Its whole job is to cut through all the other noise and give us one single powerful number, gross profit. So let's see how it works.
So what exactly is this gross profit thing anyway? Well, it all boils down to one simple fundamental formula.
Here it is. Gross profit equals net sales minus the cost of goods sold. Now don't let your eyes glaze over. This isn't just a math problem. This is the story of your business in a single line. It's what you actually earned from sales minus what it cost you to get the specific things that you sold.
To really get this, we've got to break down both sides of that equation. So let's start with the first piece of the puzzle, net sales. What does that term really mean?
This seems obvious, but it's so important. I mean, you can't count the money from a sale if the customer brings the item back, right? So we start with our total sales, and we subtract any sales returns. You might also hear this called returns inward, which makes total sense. It's stuff returning inward to the business. What's left over? That's your net sales, your real, true revenue.
Okay, net sales? Check. Now we need to get our heads around the other side of the formula, which has a few more moving parts, the cost of goods sold. And this is where it gets really interesting. We're not trying to find the cost of everything we have in stock. No way. We need to figure out the cost of only the specific items that people actually bought and walked away with.
Now this formula can look a little scary, but trust me, when you break it down, it's just pure logic. Think about it. You start with the inventory you had at the beginning. You add everything new you bought. Then you add any costs to get those goods ready to sell. That gives you the total cost of everything you could have sold. Then you just subtract the value of what you didn't sell, the stuff still on the shelves. And what's left? The cost of what you actually sold. See? Simple. Now, inside that little four-step process, there's a term we need to zoom in on, net purchases. Just like with our sales, we've got to find the real number for what we bought. The thinking here is exactly the same as net sales. We can't just use the big total number we spent on inventory. We have to make adjustments, like for stuff we sent back to our suppliers, which brings us to a really cool point.
Okay, this is where the details really matter. Of course, you subtract returns outward. That's just stuff you sent back. But look at this other stuff. Goods given away as free samples, or donated to charity, or even lost in a fire. Why subtract them? Well, the logic is kind of perfect. You can't include their cost in the cost of goods sold if they were never, sold.
So once we have our net purchases figured out, we need to add one more thing to find our total cost: direct expenses. These are all the costs that are directly tied to getting your goods into the building and ready to sell.
And here are some great examples. Notice the pattern here? We're talking about factory, power, fuel, manufacturing costs. These are all costs of making or getting the goods. It all happens before the item is sitting there ready for a customer to buy.
So, here is the absolute golden rule. A direct expense is about getting the product to you. An indirect expense is about helping you sell it. This difference is everything, and it leads to one of the most common mix-ups in all of accounting.
Check this out. Carriage is just a word for shipping costs. Carriage inwards is the shipping cost to get goods in from your supplier. That's a direct cost of buying, so it goes in our trading account. But carriage outwards, the cost of shipping something out to your customer, that's a cost of selling. That belongs somewhere else entirely in the profit and loss account. We'll get to that another day.
Okay, we've broken down net sales, we've totally unpacked the cost of goods sold, we've defined all the pieces, so now it's time to put it all together and see what this final number really tells us.
And here's the bottom line. After all those calculations, the scale is going to tip one of two ways. If your net sales are bigger than your cost of goods sold, boom, you've got a gross profit. If it costs you more to get the goods than you made from selling them, well, that's a gross loss. The best way to think about it is this. Your gross profit is the first basic health check on your business. It answers one question, and only one question. Is my core model of buying stuff and selling it working? It completely ignores everything else, like office salaries, marketing, or rent. It's the purest look at your basic operation. And that leaves us with one last, really critical thought. Knowing your gross profit is fantastic. It's like checking a patient's pulse. But what about all those other costs? What about the advertising you run, the accountant you have to pay, or the salaries for your team? The trading account doesn't tell us any of that, which is exactly why this is just the first step.